Hey, welcome back. I want to show you an example of a digital artist portfolio website. Just how can we be a little bit different and a little bit creative with how we show off a artist's imagery. You could use this for photography. You could use it for anything where images are involved. Now, GrumpyAnise is a digital artist who has given me permission for me to use their images from DeviantArt. DeviantArt.com, which I'm a part of and have used for many, many years, is a great place to engage and interact and get hold of bespoke digital art. I mean, I'm talking about some amazing, amazing stuff. Please always ask for permission before you use anyone's artwork on your website, or you can get them commissioned as well. So GrumpyAnise has agreed for me to use their images, and we're going to do some creative stuff with it. And that's what we're going to be looking at today with WordPress and, of course, Elementor. By the way, I'm Imran, Siddiq, Web Squadron. I hope you like, subscribe, share and follow to keep up to date with all of the amazing, juicy stuff we do with Elementor and WordPress to help you, your clients and your business and your artwork as well. So let's crack on with this. So here's an example of GrumpyAnise's page on DeviantArt. We're going to go over to WordPress and Elementor. Now, I'm not going to go through how you install WordPress, domain hosting and Elementor and all of that. There are videos I've already got for that, but in the description, I will put a link down to plugins you need to use and some of the settings you may want to consider whenever you're building a website with WordPress or Elementor. So assuming you've got your optimization plugins in, you've got Elementor, preferably Elementor Pro, but you can do a lot of what I'm going to show you with Elementor Free as well. Remember, any images you take, optimize them, okay? Compress and optimize, and again, I've got links in the descriptions of videos for where I talk about my favorite plugins to do that. I don't use TinyPNG anymore. I use something completely different, and I ensure the images on the website are WebP format. There are to and fro arguments about, is WebP what you need to use? I don't care, I use WebP. You know, attack me if you want, but I'm quite happy with it. Right, so the first thing I'm going to do on this page, which is I've called GrumpyAnise, is it's an Elementor canvas page because we're going to make a one-page website. There's not going to be a huge amount of content because I just want to get across to you a different way of doing things. But what we will do on this website is we will set the global colors up. I've added in 3 colors here, okay? Ignore the rest of the colors you see here. This is an example test website I use, okay? So don't sit there moaning about the range I've got here. These are the 3 colors I've added. They have been taken from an example logo I've taken off GrumpyAnise's webpage or her DeviantArt portfolio that I wanted to replicate and use within the website. So let's just hit update on that. I'm not going to bother with global fonts or typography. I'm just going to use Roboto or Orbitron throughout the website, okay? So I'll do it on the fly, okay? Because it is just a one-page site, but you know, if you are keen on ensuring you've got a consistent font throughout the website, make sure you do your global fonts as well. Right, so let's just get started with a header. We're not doing a header template. This is a one-page site, okay? So we don't have to create a template. I would recommend you do so, but because this is an example test website, I don't want to overload it with too many headers. So we're going to create a section and it's going to be 2 columns, okay? So I'll do that again for anyone who wasn't following. We click the plus sign here and I'm going to pick a section with 2 columns, all right? The section is your house. The columns are your rooms. What goes into the column will be your furniture. So I'm going to go over here to the background of this section. I'm going to go to the style, background type, and I'm going to make it 1 color. And I'm going to pick that new dark color I just did there. It's not black, but it's very close to a dark black color. I'm then going to add in a image. So we're going to drop that in there. And I'm going to pick a image now from the library. And look, here you can actually see loads of the artwork I've already loaded in from GrumpyAnise's portfolio. Some amazing, rich stuff. Believe me, this is going to be so totally exciting. And here's the logo. So that logo, the background color for that matches the color I've just put in for the background color, okay? So we've added in the logo. I'm going to make it full and I'm going to put it left. Now, here's a quick tip about logos. No matter how good the quality of your image is, sometimes when you add something in, it looks like it's not perfectly sharp. Always ensure your images are full, no matter what the size. Go to CSS filter when you're in the style for the image, okay? And just increase your contrast by about 5. Go from 100 to either 105 or 110. Don't go beyond 110 because then you're going to mess around with the colors. But 105, it can just make the sharpness a little bit better. Let me show you what happens if I do this. Look, can you see the sharpness increasing on that? but the colors are becoming way too prominent. So let's just put it back to 105 there. Okay, let's hit update. Now that logo at the moment is quite big, so I'm going to go to pixels and I'm going to change this to be about 200 is still too big. Let's drop it down to 150. Okay, so 150, and we're going to make the maximum width for that 150 pixels as well. What does that mean? Well, no matter what size the screen, that will always be 150 pixels. If you had a big screen, do you want the logo to grow or shrink if you're on a really small machine, or do you want it to always consistently be 150 pixels, which is what we have done here? Now, one other thing you will notice about this section, if I just click over here, the grid at the top there, if I go to layout, it's currently a boxed. I'm going to put this to be full width. I'm going to say there is no gap in the column, and I'm going to set the height to be a minimum height, basically like that. That minimum height will just be the basic height it needs to be to contain the elements within. Okay, I hope that is making sense at the moment. What we will do on the right hand side, if I just move this column over here, we're going to add a navigation menu, which will contain menu anchors to take you down to different relevant bits of the page. Now at the moment, I haven't actually created a menu, so I'm just going to drop the nav menu in here, but I'm not really bothered about it at the moment. Ignore that. This is a test website. Okay, let me just put primary menu for now. There we go, left. Left? I mean, align right. So I'm just going to leave that as it is for now, okay? I'm not modifying that. We will come back to that right at the end. Let's get on to the juicy stuff. Right, so that's our header. You could add social sharing icons, of course. Why not? So Grumpy has a DeviantArt page. They've got an Instagram page and stuff like that. We could add social sharing icons in. But in fact, let's just do that now. Why don't we do it, okay? Rather than me just saying it, let's do it. So we are going to add in some social sharing icons. I'm going to drop them, as you can see there, above the above the navigation menu. Okay, I'm going to make them to be right aligned. So what we'll do is we will modify this to only show their Instagram, okay, and their DeviantArt. Okay, so let's just change the logo here, and we'll go with Instagram. We'll put an insert, and for the second one, we will change this one to be web. I don't think there has a website interest. I don't think there is a image here. Ah, there we go, DeviantArt. It is on there. What did you know? So we're going to add DeviantArt as well. This is so cool, people. Right, let's get the link for DeviantArt, and we'll go back over here and we'll stick that there. And we'll go to Instagram and we will add in their Instagram link as well. This is looking so good before we've even done anything. Now, the problem is, though, that it is using the logos for the social sharing icons. Now, which is fine if you've got a white background and you want them to pop out, but I don't want it to do that. So I'm going to go to Style and I'm going to say, do a custom color instead. I want the secondary color to be our... Sorry, no, wrong one. Sorry. Primary color to be the dark background. And I want the secondary color to actually be... We'll go with that red there, okay? So it's kind of keeping in a little bit with some of the red and oranges I've picked off out the logo, okay? But what about the hover? Well, the primary colour we will make dark again, but the secondary colour we will go for this new orange colour. So when I hover over it now, you're going to get, it goes from the red to the orange, okay? And these are now going to be linking. You can just about see it in the bottom corner there, in the bottom left corner. You can see the hyperlinks or the URLs for where it's going. Okay, now notice the spacing between the social sharing icons and the header. They're quite big at the moment. You might want to go over to your column over here, click on the column, and say the default widget space, which is 20 pixels. You might want to shrink that down to be 5, bring them closer, or even just put it as 0, bring them even closer. Okay, so have a play around with that and what you want to go for. But what if you don't want them to be in a line like that? Sorry, above one another, and you do want them to be in line. So you want the social sharing icons to be after the menu. Well, that's dead easy as well. If I go down here and I click the navigator, I'm going to pick the social icon up and drop it below the nav menu. It's still below. It's not in line. What are you doing? This solved nothing. I'm then going to go to the nav menu, go to advanced for the nav menu, go to positioning and click custom positioning. I'm then going to go to the social icons. I'm going to go to advanced, positioning, and pick custom positioning. Both of them are custom positioning. But now they're both over there, to the left. I want them to be to the right. Well, let's go back to the column. Okay, to the column. Let's go to horizontal line, and let's pick center. No, that's not what I want. Let's pick space between. That's not what I want. Let's go for end. Okay, I just wanted to show you what you can do here. So there we go now. We now have the menu next door to the social sharing icon. I could go to the nav menu right now. Okay, click on the nav menu. Go to the advanced tab. I'm just going to 0 the margin and padding. And I'm going to go to the right margin. And I'm going to just increase this to be about, let's go with 20. So I've added in about 20 pixels breathing space from the social sharing icon. If I change this to 200, it will go over there. So I hope that is making a little bit sense with the margins and the padding, okay? Padding is good. We love padding. It's great when it's a cold night and you get a bit of padding to keep you warm. The juicy stuff, come on, what are we doing? Let's now do a section below. I am not going to modify this any further until I've got more of the menu items, okay? Trust me, we will come back to this. Let's add in another section. I'm going to add in a section with one column. No, I'm not. I'm going to do a section with two. No, I'm not. I'm going to do a section with one column. And then we'll add another column on later for anyone who's unsure of how to do this. We've added in a section. It's got nothing inside of it at the moment. I'm now going to click on the grid. I'm going to go to style. Now, I'm not going to add in a image, okay? I'm actually going to add in a video. What? This is not always recommended if you worry about the speed of your website, but if you have thought hard about the video that you've created and how quick it is, this is not a bad idea. I will explain the steps in a moment. I'm going to add in a video. So we're in Media Library and I'm going to get the URL for the video, but let me just show you where I even got the video from. GrumpyAnise created an image here called The Fox the City. It's an image of a fox looking over a city. And I love this artwork. I just love the simplicity. Silhouette art with lines and shading and colors, textures. I love it, okay? This is my thing. I love this stuff. It's just an image, right? I took that image, put it into iMovie, and then put a video of rain on top of the image, right? And then I saved it as an MP4. That MP4, okay, at this moment in time, basically, if I go to rain here, is 5 megabytes. It's a 5 megabyte video. And that's because it's only 4 seconds long. That's all I need. 4 seconds was enough to do a decent loop. And this is what you're going to see. Look, can you see the rain effect there? That is rain. And there's a video for how I did that in our, please look at the videos we've uploaded. It will show you the methodology of how we did this, okay? That is a 5 megabyte video. What I also did after I created that was make an image of the video. The very first frame of the video, you can do this in Canva or wherever, I made an image. This will be very important because videos sometimes take a split second to display on your website and start playing. So make sure you keep, you got the video, of course, make sure it's not too big, under 5 meg, definitely recommended. And make sure you get a screenshot of the video as well. So there we go. So I took an image, added in a rain effect on top of it. So we just got a bit of movement. We go to the rain, and I'm now going to copy the URL because that's what we wanted to do. We then go over to GrumpyAnise, and over here, I'm now going to dump in the video link. Okay, look, you can see it playing now in the background there. You could stick this on YouTube and then just stream it back from YouTube or Vimeo or wherever you want to do. But because this is under 5 meg, I can get away with it, to be honest. I mean, I've seen websites with images that are 13 meg, and I start going, compress and optimize it. What are you doing, you fool? But hey, you know, 5 meg video, we can get away with that. So there we have the video. Now, before I extend it to see more, there's a few things you need to take into account. Do we want this to play on the mobile? I'm going to say yes. There'll be 10% of the time where it does not play on the mobile. Okay? And this is where sometimes when it doesn't play, you get the play symbol. Okay? Which can look a little bit annoying on the website. So I'm going to say no. So on the mobile, all I really want is for it to have a fallback image, which is this image over here. So there's the image. Remember I said you got the video, and then you take a screenshot of the image. That's the image. But this also serves an additional purpose, okay? when this website loads up, a split second when the video isn't there, you're going to get a blank white space. A split second before that appears, that image will be there. That image will display and then the video will come. So for the user, they won't even notice that split second delay because they'll see an image and then suddenly it starts moving. Okay, so it's a great way to do it. If anyone out there's got videos, they go, oh, the video takes a second to load. Get a screenshot of the very first frame. Basically, just take a screenshot of your video right at the start. Job done, okay? And make sure it's the right, if you're using Canva or iMovie or whatever, right, or Photoshop, you should be able to get the exact proportion and the exact size. So there we go. So we've added in our video and it is now playing. Do we want it to play once? No, I want it to continuously loop. Now let's go to our section. If I go to layout, okay, I'm just going to set this to be boxed and I'm going to set this to be 1200. Why? The section is full width, but the columns within, they will be only 1200 pixels width. Look at this. You can't see it. That was a rubbish example, wasn't it? But let me just change this to be, there we go. Let's just shrink it to 682. Can you see there? That is the column and it will only ever be that wide, but I want it to be 1200 because I just find 1200 works and looks really good when you have laptop, Surface Pro machines, MacBooks and things like that. It fits and looks nice on the screen. Okay, we're going to have no gap for the for the columns. And for the height, I'm going to set this to be a minimum height. Now look, if I extend it, can you now see we're getting that rain effect on the image? I'm going to set this to be minimum height, okay? Just because I like to be in full control over how it looks. I'm then going to go to the Advanced tab. I'm going to zero out the margin and zero out the padding. I'm going to say the padding, so this is like the cavity within the walls within the house before you get to the room. Okay, so we're inside the house now. I'm going to say we have 150 at the top. We have 15 on the right, we have about 250 on the bottom, and we have 15 over there. So that's me now kind of setting the size for the spaces or the gaps on the left and right hand side, and the top and bottom. So when we start to add content, the content will always be 150 pixels away from the top, and about 250 from the bottom. Okay, so look, if I do that now, you still have some content. Now, bear in mind, though, that we're still not getting the full look of the image, okay? And that's just basically because we haven't added any content yet. Let's now add in a header. We're going to drop a header in, like that. I'm going to call this header 1, and I'm going to drop in some content. I'm going to put, so I've dumped in some text. Storyteller, Wanderer, Digital Artist. You can't see it yet because I need to change the font color. Okay, let's go to Style. Let's just make it a white font. And we're going to go to typography, and I'm going to go for, let's go for Orbitron. Orbitron. It's one of my favorites. I really like that, okay? Just because it's just this like, in your face. So we're going to increase this, and I'm actually going to go for REM. Now, standard themes, because this is using the Hello theme, by the way, with Elementor, okay, is going to be 16 pixels. So if I put in a 1, that's going to be 16 pixels. I'm going to actually increase this to be about 4, yes, 3. We'll go with 3.5. So 3.5 times 16. 16. Anyway, you've got a calculator on your phone. You can quickly do that right now. Okay, so we're going to change the line height as well. So I'm going to increase that a little bit there. And the lettering spacing, I'm just going to increase that to be about 3 as well. So you can mess around with the height and the spacing of your letters as well. Now, in terms of weighting, I could have it going really thin. I mean, Orbitron has a limitation on how many you can pick. We could go with 900. I think I'm going to leave it as 400. No, 600. Yeah, 600 is cool. We'll go with 600 for that. Okay. Now, the colours of the font, I have gone for white, and it's not keeping with the colour scheme we have up here. Let's just test it. What happens if we go for the red? Yeah, it's not standing out as much, is it? So I would say that, you could go for a grey colour or a dark colour, a grey, something that's a bit more bleak. But I think the white is fine. Even though the colour scheme is red at the top, I think the white font works okay. So if we now just shrink that down like that, so I minimise the screen. Storyteller, Wanderer, Digital Artist, 150 from the top, 250 from the bottom. And we've got this moving scene. I mean, how cool does that look? You can just sit there, couldn't you? Oh, I'm with my umbrella. I'm hiding. Oh, what is that fox doing in the rain? Get out of the rain! Oh, it's... I'm sorry, I'm getting carried away now. But I think that's quite mesmerizing, isn't it? But I want to go a step further. Okay, I don't just want to have that moving image and the text. I'm going to go over here now, right? To that column. I'm going to right click and click add new column. I'm going to add a new column and I'm just going to shrink it to be about that big there. It only needs to be about 20% or even 25%, 23%, 23%, something like that, okay? So this is how you can add columns on the fly. I'm going to go to this column here, okay? And I'm now going to drop in a image. We're going to mess around with the padding, by the way, okay? I do things on purpose in this order to show you how we change things on the fly. We're going to add in a image, like so. And I'm going to change this image to be something almost completely different, just to kind of make you go, what? What's going on here? So I'm going to pick another image. We're going to go for this image here. Okay, and again, it's another WebP. By the way, WebP images, right? 31 kilobytes, all right? So do convert your images into WebP if you care about the file size, right? So we're going to insert that image. Now, as soon as we do that, can you see the section has completely moved down now, okay? Now, one other thing I have just noticed is this image has got a white border on it. So let me just go to my media library. I'm going to hit edit image. I'm going to go to crop. And I am now just going to crop out the white borders that we had there. Okay, because I don't really want that to be showing on this image that I'm pulling over. So that's about right. I hit crop. It's now cropped it away and I hit save. Okay, so another way how you can do things on the fly. Let's get rid of that. Let's go back to our image over here. I'm now going to delete that image, hit update. Okay, and I'm just going to refresh the page. Sometimes when you do things on the media library, you just got to refresh your page for it to know that now go and get me the right image. So let's go back over here, click here, click on the image, and we'll now should have the image, but without the border. So now we have our image, okay? And look, it's looking pretty good at the moment. We got this image just sat there, just like sat there. It's kind of like, what's that? What's the point of that image doing there? But what it has done is pushed the section to be bigger because it's 150 from the top, 250 from the bottom. So now we can actually mess around with the padding of the section. Let's go to advanced, and I'm now just going to drop this to 0. Now that image is going to be right at the top. Not good. I don't want that. So let's go with 50 from the top. And how about we go with 50 from the bottom? No, it's not big enough, is it? Let's go with 70 and 70. No, I think we can get away with a bit more. I love experimenting with Elementor. Right, there we go. So now we've got an 80-80 effect going. And if I just do this now, you can see the ground a little bit at the bottom there. And we've got this image almost like on the... It's not floating. It's just like... It looks like it's stuck on top. But the great thing is, the rain effect is behind the image. So we got this effect, then we got this image showing. And the reason I've gone for a completely contrasting different image is because I don't want it to get lost in the first image, but I also want to show the variety of what GrumpyAnise can do. Grumpy, you are brilliant. I love what you do. So we're just going to go over to this image right now, this column first, and I'm going to set this to be center. Now, when I do center, it's not going to actually move a lot. Let me just change that to be end. And I'm going to click on this image here, and I'm going to put it as a right aligned, okay? Like so. So that, it's not moving much, is it? Why is it not moving? Oh, of course, duh, sorry. It's 120, sorry, 1,200 pixels. That is your 1,200 pixel width. So sorry, I'm being a bit not careful there. Right, I'm going to go over to my image. Okay, let's just put it as a full image. So you get the full resolution. Let's go to sex style. Okay, now at the moment, there is no link. You click that, it's not going to take you anywhere. It's just an image on the page. If you want to take it to the media library, so when you click it, it shows you the full image. You click media file. If you want it to take you to another page, you click custom link, but we're not doing that, okay? By the way, we will be speeding up, all right? I know I've been talking quite a while here, but we are going to speed up because I'll just be rinse and repeat after this, okay? Let's click on the image. Let's go to style. Now this is where if you feel like the image isn't coming through, probably you can start to mess around with the contrast. So I'm just going to increase the contrast just a little bit there, just a tiny bit, okay? In fact, 106. I'm then going to scroll down and go to border radius, and I'm going to give this 25. So now I've given it some border. Can you see that? If I do 250, you can see what's happening. If we, so I'm going to go with 25, so a little bit of curvature. I'm then going to go to the box shadow, and I'm going to give this a tiny bit of shadow. Can you see that? Let me undo it, and let me put it back on again. Watch over here. Watch the edges over here, okay? You see that? There's a little bit of a pop coming out now. I'm going to change this to be a vertical 1, so it's actually going to push it down, and I'm going to go for a horizontal 1, and it pushes it to the right. If you go -1, it will go that way. If you do a -1 for vertical, it will go that way. So I'm just pushing the shadow effect a little bit. So how does that now look on the screen? So we can now see it is a very subtle pop effect there of it just coming forwards a little bit. And you could add more images. You could have 2 here, but I've got this character here and I don't want to lose the character. Right, that is a section done. But what does it look like in the mobile? This is really important. Always check your sections as you go along. Don't do your whole website or your whole page and then go, now I'm going to check the mobile view. Oh, it looks ugly. No, do it at the time you're doing it. So let's click mobile. I'm going to set the width to be 378. Now don't worry about this, okay, at the top. We're going to modify and mess around with this later on, okay? I'm going to go over here and I'm going to now change my format of my text. So it was 3.5 for the desktop, but for the mobile, put it back on REM. I'm going to shrink it down to be about, in fact, we'll go with 2. We'll go with 2, okay? So it's a nice 2 size. What about this image here? Now, this image at the moment isn't for me working now because it's now taking up and covering the image we have here. So I'm going to click on in fact, I'm going to click on the column. Go to advanced. You could do this on the image on itself, but I'm going to do it to the entire column. Click on the column and I'm going to say responsive in the advanced tab, hide on mobile. Right? So look what happens now on the mobile. That is now no longer there. And can you notice now that it's not even playing? Because sometimes, like I said, on the mobile, it will not automatically play. And if you set it to play on the mobile, the user will have a play button over those words, which can look quite rubbish. So play around with it and see what you're working. It works on the desktop, mobile, you've got to think a little bit differently. Now, the problem is, though, the wording is covering the character. So let's go back in and let's click on the section. Now, in the advanced tab, it's already brought through the same padding we had before, 80, 80, 15, 15. I'm going to click this and make sure that we still maintain the padding for the left and right, 15, 15. You don't want it right up against the border of the page. That looks ridiculous. For the top, I'm going to actually change this to be 40. And for the bottom, I'm going to go with 100. Let's just see how that looks. No, it's still not right. We're still losing the person at the bottom. So I'm going to change this to be about 130. How does that look now? That looks better. Okay, we're not getting the full-on movement. We're losing that. You know, some things have to give a little bit here. But at least we get storyteller, wanderer, digital artist, okay? And if we go back to desktop, you have the desktop view. So you get the beauty of both worlds there. I hope this is making sense to everybody out there. Let's now add in another section, okay? Now this is where you can be creative and just reuse what you've already got. But I'm going to say that for now, we're just going to create a totally new section. So I'm going to do a section and I'm going to have, let us go for 2 columns, okay? Let's go to this section. It's going to be a box of 1,200 and we're going to go for no gap, and the height I'm going to set as a minimum height of 0, okay? I like to control how things look within here. I'm going to go to advanced. If you touch the margin like 100, it creates a gap between section 2 and section 1. Rather than having that, I'm going to do the padding instead and go for 100, and we'll 100 from the top. So whatever is within there, it doesn't actually start. The content doesn't start until 100 padding within. We're going to go to this section and give it a style background, okay? And I'm going to give this a background color, we used a video above. Now I'm just going to give it the dark color that we have here. Okay, so hopefully it starts to maintain the consistency with the header we got at the top. I'm now in column 1, going to add in a text editor. And into the text editor, I'm going to paste in some text, okay, like this. You can't see the text, obviously, because it's the text color. We're going to go to style. We're going to put the text color as white. I'm going to go to typography, and now rather than Orbitron, I'm actually going to go for Roboto, because Roboto works quite well with the Orbitron. If you check Google Fonts, it actually tells you the pairings. We're going to go to REM, and I'm going to give this a 2, which is a bit too big. So let's go for 1.5, okay? 1.5, 1.3, 1.3, 1.4, 1.3. Let's go with 1.3, okay? You got to think about these things, people. The weighting we will go with as a 400. We could go with a 200, but that looks a bit too faint now. 300 is okay, but I think the 400 just works a little bit better on the dark background. And we are going to leave the line height and the letter spacing as it is. We're not touching anything there. And we're going to say it's left aligned as well. Okay, let's now go to the back to the section, go to the advanced, and I'm going to put 15 on the left and 15 on the right. Again, you know, it's just to maintain the consistency with what we've got at the top as well. That 15, you know, coming inwards a little bit on the edges. Important when you get to mobile. Now over here, I was thinking about putting in an image, and then I did something completely different, which is here, morph, okay? And then I took a screenshot as well. Let me just show you the so that's a screenshot. Remember, you need to have a screenshot. If I go to morph, okay, and I play this, this is 445 kbs. It's only 15 seconds long, right? But because of the size of it, look, it just kind of morphs. And I used Canva for this, all right? Canva is so good for just like, you know, animating images, okay? So we animated some images there. I'm going to get the URL for this copied. Let's go back over here. And I'm now going to add into here a video. Drop the video widget in, okay? I'm now going to pop into here and say this is a self-hosted video. It's not on it's not on YouTube or anywhere. Choose the file, and I'm going to pick morph. I didn't need to copy it, sorry. I could have just picked it like this. Insert the media. Now this is going to be set to autoplay. Now again, play on mobile. We can try it, okay? We can try the play on mobile, but remember, it might not always work. We're not going to have any player controls. There's no need to mute because there's no sound. Yes, it is going to loop because we always want it to continuously loop. There is no download button. And the poster for this, what we mean by poster, it's the fallback image. There we go. We stick that image there. Okay, so we now are going to get that image. Now, at the moment, though, it is quite big, what we're seeing here. So if I go to style, I now kind of have to mess around with the ratio. I could go for 1:1. Which is kind of okay. 16:9 is fine, but I could go for 1:1 because when I created this, I created it on a 500 by 500 pixel canvas. Now what I'm going to do to shrink this though is I'm going to pick up this column. Whoopsie daisy, I picked up the wrong one. There we go. I'm going to pick up the column divider, and I'm just going to shrink it like this. Because I don't want it to kind of be like really huge. I want it to be just like, it's noticeable, but it's not absolutely huge, right? It's not in your face. So we've got this moving on. But the text now is a bit too close to the image or the video. So I'm going to go over to this column, okay? And I'm now going to set the padding of that column or the margin for where it starts and begins. And I'm going to say the right margin for this box with the text is going to be 200 pixels. 200's a bit too big, actually. Let's go with 150. Even 100. No, 150. 100. There we go. 100 pixels away from that image, okay? And I'm also going to go over to the section. And I've now decided that rather than it being 1,200, I'm actually going to shrink it a bit. So we're actually going to get, we'll go with about 800. 800 pixels. So what we now get is we get text and we get this video going on. Now, at the moment, the video is 100 pixels away from the top. So go back into the section. Let's just change this to be 50. That's looking better. And now we'll go with 50. So what I'm trying to show you is it's okay to start with a number and then modify it to get the exact look you want. And that's actually looking okay. I think that's looking pretty cool. I mean, look at that. I mean, look, we've got a movement on the website. Don't overdo videos. Don't overdo things that are going to slow your page down. Okay, this is an example website. But how does this look on the mobile? Remember what I said? Always check on the mobile as you go. This is the section done. By the way, Okay, we've just done it really quickly, not using any templates. We've done it on the fly. So 378. So what we now have is the columns is we've got two columns. Column 1 is above column 2. That's the standard. We could shrink column 1 so that column 1, if we went over here and we went to layout and typed in 50 and did the same over here and typed in 50, you'd have them both side by side, 50%, 50%. But that would look ridiculously small. So I'm now going to click on this column, go back to advanced, and I'm going to reset the margin like that. Okay, the desktop will still have the margin of 100. The mobile won't. So we now get the text nicely displayed. And look below, we have the image playing. And that's absolutely fine. Just because it's playing here doesn't mean it will actually play on your mobile, so always test it out, okay? I'm now just going to click into the section, and it has maintained 50, 15, 50, 50, 50, 15, 15. And I'm happy with that. We've got a bit of spacing on the left and right. Cool, let's carry on. Or as they would say, awesome. Okay, let's now do the next section. Now the next section is going to be where I'm going to put some stats down, okay, some numbers in. So we are going to actually now make a copy of the section above. Duplicate, like that. We are going to get rid of that column. In fact, we're going to get rid of that column completely, not just the contents. I'm going to go back over to the column here, and I'm going to reset this to be 0, 0. And I'm also going to increase this to be about 1000 in width. So we just get a little bit more spacing there. We could go with 800. We could have gone with the 1200, but I think 1000 is fine. I'm going to get rid of this content that sits within. And I'm going to bring in a different widget. I'm going to bring in the counter widget. This one here. It's currently in grey. Let's make it white so we can see everything a little bit clearer. And the title we will also make white as well. In fact, we won't go for white this time. I'm going to go for that orange colour there. And I'm going to do it the same for the number as well. Well, let's just test it. What does the number look like in that dark red? Yeah, I think that works. I think that's okay. Let's go with that. So I'm going to click over here and go to the content. The starting number is 0, but the number it's going to end at is 239. Okay, and I'm going to then type, I'm not going to have a number before or a number after. So you could do, you could type in like something like that, GGGGG, and it has a bit after it. Or you could even put something in before as well, which again, we're not doing. But the title for this, rather than cool number, will be images. Okay, and that's because I've taken some stats from DeviantArt. Obviously, this is probably not going to be as up to date if you view this next week or the week after, but it is at the moment. Now for the title, let's go with the typography, and I think we should make this Orbitron, don't you? And we're going to make it an REM of 2, so it stands out, and we're just going to give it a bit of spacing like that. Okay, that will do fine, and the weight of it, I'll actually make it 400. We'll leave that as it is. The number, well, I think we should put that as Orbitron as well. Orbitron, Orbitron. It sounds like Megatron. That's probably why I like it. Megatron. Okay, I will go to REM, and I'm going to set that to be 3 is too small. So let's go with about 4. Yeah, okay, that's looking okay. In fact, the title now I think is a little bit too big. So I'm just going to drop that down to be about 1.5. Yeah, there we go. 239 images. Right. Let us now go to the column for this. Okay. And no, we won't do anything with the column. I'm actually going to duplicate this. And I'm going to duplicate it again. Right. I'm going to go over here. And I'm now going to type onto this one 2.7. And in fact, I won't do 2.7. And afterwards, I'm going to say 1000. Okay. And we're going to change this to be watchers. These are people who are watching you on DeviantArt, by the way, okay? So someone might go, what the heck does that mean? What do you mean watching you? Are they outside peering at you with binoculars? No, it's a bit more than just that. And over here, we're going to change this number to be 748. And we're going to type this to be badges. Badges gained. Badges gained. Or we're even going to put badges. Let's just leave it as badges. So in DeviantArt, other artists or people viewing, if they've got a membership or even if they've subscribed or registered, can give you like a badge to say, hey, we love what you're doing. So that's what we're talking about here. Anyone who uses DeviantArt, you know what I mean. Okay, so we now have this other section. And look, so when you come to view this, the numbers will count up. How does this look on the mobile? let us check then. Why do I keep clicking that? It's right there. God, Imran, stop rushing. You know, you're not on a plane, for God's sake. Right, now as you can see here, column 1 and column 2, they're quite close together, okay? And what you might want to do now is add a bit of spacing. So I'm going to go to column 2, the one in between. Go to advanced, and for the top, I'm going to say 40 from the top and 40 spacing at the bottom. And you might say, is that good enough, or do we want to add a bit more? And I might say, let's just add a bit more. I think 60-60 still looks a bit too close. So what you'll get is, after you scroll down from here, you'll get this. And you might want to think about reducing the image over here as well, the spacing, sorry. In fact, I'm going to say, when we go to this column here, I think we should add some spacing there. So let's just go in for about 40. No, we'll go with 50. There we go. We just added in a bit of spacing from the top. In fact, I'm going to go over here to this entire section, and I'm now going to just change this to be 70, 15, 50, 15. So look, this is just me on the fly, just modifying now how things look. And this is the great thing about Elementor. There's no code involved. I'm just using my fingertips to dance on the keyboard, okay? Right, let's add in another section. And the next section we're going to go for is going to be literally a copy of what we had here. I'm going to copy this, right? I'm going to go here and I'm going to click paste. Boom. Pasted the entire section. I'm going to get rid of this column entirely, okay? I'm now going to take this text that we have here, and I'm now going to put it on the right-hand side rather than the left. I'm now going to change this text to be something that was on GrumpyAnise's website, and it's going, not website, their portfolio. It says, draw without fear, erase without fear, okay? And I'm just going to modify it a little bit and just put some of the words in capitals. People always say, this is not grammatically correct. And I'm like, yeah, I'm looking for impact, okay? I'm just going to click over here. I'm going to erase that. And there we go. Draw without fear, erase without fear. That is powerful stuff, right? Let's now go to the section. Let's now make this 150. And we'll go with 250 from the bottom. Now let's change the image. Let's go over here. I'm going to get another image, okay? And I'm not going to play that image because I don't want it to reveal what you're going to see, because this is so cool. Again, I took an image, right? It's one of the images. There it is. It's this image, right? Put it into iMovie, got a particular video, royalty-free, overlaid it on top, okay? Used a cutout setting so it overlaps better. Created a video, and then after creating the video, I then created a screenshot of that video as well. So if we go over here, okay, we go to style, and we drop this in. Trust me, you're gonna love you're gonna love this. I love it. I was like, whoa, gives me the chills just looking at it. Put in the fallback image. It's not gonna play on the mobile or anything like that, okay? But if I now just hit, in fact, I'm gonna give this a bit more padding, just because I think it deserves it. It really does deserve it. So 350, okay? Now, just absorb this image and what it's doing, okay? Can you see that fire effect? Like the embers, you know, because it's a fiery vision. And obviously when you do overlay, it darkens the image that's sat behind it. But this again is just me just putting across some movement in the website. Right, let's just check what this looks like in the mobile. Okay, so bear in mind it's not going to be perfect. But because we brought over a duplicate from above, it's reduced the font. The trouble is, though, the font is still a bit too big. So let's just drop that down to get it all onto one line. Draw without fear, erase without fear. It is playing right now, but bear in mind it won't always play on the mobile, okay? So we could now just go in here and start to mess around with, okay, is the padding going to be something different? So let's just go with 60, and how about 150? Okay, so we just get a little bit more differentiation there. Right, now we're going to add in a gallery, okay? So this is where we're going to have a gallery effect now below. So I'm now going to add in a section, one column. I'm going to set the background for this to be the dark color, okay, like so. We're going to give it some padding of about 100 from the top, okay? Trying to keep with everything we've kind of got there. In fact, no, we won't go with 100. We'll go with about 70. 70, just checking how it looks. Yeah, okay, we'll go with 70. We're going to set this to be a boxed width of 1200. Okay, so the section above with the fire, that's the full width. Well, it's 1200, but the image behind is full width. And then below here for this section, got boxed of 1200. And into here, we're going to drop in the gallery. Now this gallery here, the masonry effect, you do need Elementor Pro for that, okay? There are loads of other Elementor add-ons out there. There's nothing wrong with using an add-on. Just be careful you don't use too many, because too many will bloat your website and sometimes you can get conflict. And I'm not just talking about, hey, I don't agree with you. Yeah, well, I don't care if you agree with me. I'm talking about conflict where your plugins could stop your website or your editor working. And that's a worrying thing to happen, trust me. So we're now going to stick in loads of images. And I am just going to kind of now like go down and start picking in images like so. Not really bothered about the order or the color. These are all images I took from GrumpyAnise's website. Now, by the way, some of these images are going to have a white or a black border, okay? That's my fault for not going through and checking and testing all of them, but I've done this kind of quite rapidly just to kind of give you an effect of what we're doing here. So hopefully I've got all of the images I need. I'm going to click Create Gallery. These are all WebP images, by the way, okay? They're all WebP images. And I'm now going to click Insert Gallery. And you can see now we're getting the white background on some of these, right? Don't worry about that, okay? Because I haven't cropped all of them. So excuse me, and I'm sorry I didn't crop all of them, okay, in preparation. But you get the idea of what this is doing if it had been cropped properly. This is going to be a single gallery, so you can have multiple. If you pick multiple, why did I do that? If you pick multiple, okay, this is where you can, by the way, I've just realized, I hope that, like, I will make sure I show you everything again without my face over here, because I'm sure I'm hiding some of the content as I'm doing this, right? But you've got your, if you did a multiple gallery, it means you could have another gallery, and you can have like tabs at the top here, so you can say, scenery art, landscape art, character art, commissions, or photography, or whatever you want to show, okay? We're going to go down here and the images will lazy load up. The layout at the minute, you could have grid, you could have justified, which will look like this, which is quite cool because it now takes into account the different sizes of the images in terms of portrait, square, landscape. You could also go for masonry, which is similar in effect in what it will do in terms of layout, but it's kind of now in a bit more of a bricky format, which I kind of quite like. I do like the masonry effect, I have to be honest. You can decide on your columns, so you could have 4 columns, 5 columns, and at the moment, every one of these images, when you click it, is going to take you to the media file. You could set it to go to another page, so another gallery page, or it could be set it to none. We'll leave it as media file for now. And that's looking all right. And you can also adjust your spacing. So if I go with like 45, you got a lot of spacing. I always find that 10 is more than enough, I feel like. And I wish I had cropped these now because it would look so much better what we have here. Now, normally at the bottom, you would have a footer where you add in your copyright, you know, your address, your phone number, your contact details and things like that. I'm not going to do that here because this is just an example, okay? But footers, I would recommend you stick one of those in the bottom. I'm just going to add in some 70 pixels padding at the bottom as well, okay? This is a nice way of just getting over the artwork. Right, but what does this look like in the mobile? So when we go to mobile mode, it's probably going to show 1 or 2, yeah, it's going to show 1 column at the moment. Let's just put this to 3, 7, 8, like that. Let's click on the gallery, editing it. Let's go down, okay? It's still masonry, but instead of it being 1 column, let's make it 2 column. Well, 3 column is now going a little bit ridiculous, but it kind of works, doesn't it? It kind of works, but we'll just go with 2 for now, okay? So we get 2 columns side by side like that, which is nice and easy on the eye, I think. And let's hit update. Now, the one thing we haven't done, okay, in fact, let me just show you the whole website in its entirety now, okay? Let's just minimize that. Let's go to the top. And we have, in fact, let me just move myself out the way. In fact, let me just hide myself completely. There we go. I'm gone. You can hear me. I'm in the shadows behind you. Right, so we have We have our logo, we have our social sharing icons and our menu, home. We have this video. We have this bit here playing automatically. We have this over here. In fact, no, let me just do it slightly different. I've done it in a bit of a boring, ridiculous way. Let me show you it properly. Okay, let me go to preview. So now we're looking at the preview page, okay? Yeah, we've got our wording. We've got our numbers. They counted in depending on how quick you scroll to them. We've got this video playing here as well. And then we got, look at these, lazy loading. As you scroll down, right? And that helps with your page speed and things like that. And on the mobile mode, it would show as well, okay? Right, let me just shut that down, back over here. And let me bring myself back. 1, 2, 3, boom, you're back in the room. Hello, right, we're back again. So that's all fine, but at the moment I haven't added in any items up here. Now I'm going to add in some anchors to take us to about, and we'll have one that takes us to the gallery. I'm only going to add in 2 anchors for simplicity reasons, okay? Just because I don't want to make this video too big and elongated and bore you all to death. And I know you're not bored because you love coming back and watching these videos. We're going to go over here and we're going to type in anchor. I am not asking you to get a boat. It's called menu anchor. And I'm going to drop the, whoops, sorry, let me just go down. Okay, in fact, let me just drop one. I'm going to drop the menu anchor to actually be here, just above the logo, okay? And I'm going to call this anchor home. Nothing more but home. Remember what you type. Lowercase, uppercase, it all matters. I'm just going to type the word home. I'm going to go down here and I'm going to get another anchor. And I'm now going to drop that anchor to be, I'm going to drop that anchor to be here. Okay, now this anchor, I'm actually going to give it some spacing of about 50, like that. Don't worry, when you're looking at your page, it hasn't increased anything. Everything is still in line. The reason I'm adding in 50 is I don't want it to take you right to the top of that text. I want you to get there but have a bit of spacing at the top. I go to my content and I'm going to call this one about. I'm keeping it really simple here, okay? I'm now going to go down here and above the gallery, I'm going to add in another anchor. So if you imagine you had services, testimonials, you could add anchors in above either the headers or even at, above the section. Add in a blank section and stick it in there. So I'm going to drop this in and it goes directly over the top. I'm going to go to advanced again and I'm going to say that this has a top of about 50 as well. I might change it to 100, but let's just see 50. And the content, we're going to call this gallery. By the way, I haven't added in the headers here. I mean, I could have stuck a header in here and called it, let me just do this, call it white. I could have called it gallery. And then you have the gallery start below, but I didn't want to do that just for this example that we're doing here at the moment. So we've got home, about, gallery. Now, I'm going to take a copy of that URL. Okay, we need the URL. Okay, in fact, we need the full URL. The full URL, if I just go to preview changes, there it is. That's the full URL, GrumpyAnise. So it's the domain / whatever you want to call it, GrumpyAnise. Okay, and I'm just going to click update. So I've got a copy of that. So we've got home, we've got about, and we've got gallery. I'm now going to go back into my WP admin, right? Your WordPress, your dashboard, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to go to appearance and I'm going to go to menus. We're nearly done, by the way. Okay, we're nearly done, everyone. We are going to create a new menu. Okay, on this menu, we are going to call GA for GrumpyAnise. And I'm going to hit create. And I'm now going to add in fact, we're not going to add in anything. I could add in GrumpyAnise actually, and there was no need for the home, thinking about it. There was no need for the home, okay? Why did I do that? I'm going to add in the GrumpyAnise. There we go. So GrumpyAnise is the first item. But the title won't say GrumpyAnise. The title will say home, right? I'm now going to add in a custom link because I don't have any pages set for the about and the gallery. The URL for that will be what I've just pasted. Then you're going to type in hashtag about. The hashtag is important. Okay, without the hashtag, it doesn't inform it where to go, if that makes sense. So hashtag about. And I'm going to type in here about with a capital A. In the URL, it's all lowercase because that's what I typed for the anchor. Let's add that to the menu. Now let's add in another one. Paste the URL. And over here, I'm going to do, you know the drill, hashtag gallery. And we're going to call it the gallery. Let's have a look at the gallery today. Add that to the menu. And I now save the menu. Right, home about gallery. Let's go back to our website, okay? Let's go all the way to the top here. Let's click this menu and we'll go to primary, okay? And I'm probably going to have to refresh the page. Remember, you do have to refresh the page for it to pull through the latest thing. So if we go over here to the menu, I can now pick forward GA, home about gallery. I'm going to modify this now. It's horizontal. I could go for vertical, or I could go for a drop down. We'll go with horizontal. It's right aligned. I don't want any pointers. Like if I, a double line when you hover under it, or you might go for like a background color. I just want it to have nothing on there, okay? There's no pointer. It will be full width. What that means is when you go to drop down, it goes across the screen in terms of the drop down. A lot of people forget this. Full width, do it. The toggle button for the mobile will be middle aligned. I'm fine with that. Now we go to the style. I'm not going to spend a lot of time going through the typography here, okay? Because, you could do that. And the same with the drop down. I'd always recommend make it the same background color as what you had. Maybe make the text color the same as well. Let's go with red there. So when you do get to the drop, in fact, let me do it. Okay, I'm being silly here. Let me do it. The main menu, the typography, we will make Orbitron, okay, like that. The weight we'll leave is 500, and I'll make the REM be 2, which is massively big, and I'm just going to shrink it. Why is REM and EM and all of that important? Well, it now means that depending on the size of the screen, it starts to respond accordingly, and it is a great way to do it. Images, use pixel. Font, anyway, use typography. Always go for REM. EM or REM. Stay away from pixel. Trust me on that one. Right? So we've got Orbitron 1.1500. For the drop down, we are also going to make the text Orbitron. Don't worry, guys, and ladies and people and everybody else out there, we are nearly done, okay? REM, we will make 1.1, and the weight we will just do with 400 or 500 or whatever I had. I'm not doing this massively scientifically, okay? I'm going to make the vertical padding be about 2030. You'll see what this is in a moment. This creates extra space above each item rather than being cramped up against one another. And if we go to the toggle button, the background will be the dark color. The color will be red, and when you hover over it, the color will, in fact, no, we'll leave the color as the red, and the background will be dark as well. But the drop down, when you hover, I want it to go to that orange color, but the background will still be dark. And when it is active, again, I want the active color to be the dark background, and I want the text color to be red. Let's go back to the main menu because I didn't set the color scheme there. The text color is that red color. The hover color is going to be the orange color. And when you are active, I'm going to stick with the red color. So look, you can see it here. And it's in line now with the social media. Right, let's now hit update. Okay, now, let's just test this out. If I go to preview pages now, right, technically, if I hit the about page, that should take me down. And can you see the 50 pixel difference? If we didn't, we would be right up here. In fact, it would look like this. It would go like that. I've created a bit of space. Let's now hit gallery. The gallery needs a bit more. That's now evident. We need a bit more space there between the top. But you can basically have your about bit. You can have a button added in here as well, which is in my other videos, okay? This is more about the portfolio site. So you can have a button here that says return back to the top. Gallery takes you down to the gallery page. You could have a button here. Like I said, you could have a button. Should we do the button? Let's just do the button, right? Because someone here is bound to say, I wish you'd show me the button. Right. I am going to, over here, right? I'm going to just create one section. One section. Nothing in it, okay? I'm now going to create a, we'll go with a icon. We'll go with an icon. Let's drop an icon in, okay? And I'm going to click this icon and I'm going to type in chevron. And I'm going to pick the chevron, which is pointing upwards, like that. Okay, we click that. We have a chevron. The style of that, let's make it red. And the size of it, we'll make it about that big there. Okay, and I'm not going to rotate it because it's fine being as a 0. Right. This is going to go to that URL and it will go to home. It's going to take me right the way back to the top. In fact, it needs to be hashtag home. Hashtag home. Okay? Because I want it to take me to the top. If I just type in GrumpyAnise, it will reload the page. I want it to take me to the top. Okay? The alignment will make a right aligned like that. Cool. Right. So the style is like that. When you hover over it, well, we'll give it an orange color. Why not? So when you hover over it, it does change color ever so slightly there. Cool. So that's the basics for the button. But let's now change the background and how it looks. We go to advanced background for the icon. Okay, and we're going to make the background of that be a color, and it's going to be our dark background there. Okay, and we might as well give it some padding as well, because at the minute it's very close to the edge there. So on the right hand side, I'm going to say 5 pixels, 5 from the top, 5 from the bottom. In fact, the bottom doesn't really need it. So let's just pop that back to 0. Yeah, okay, that's okay. And we'll go 5 on the left. Now then, positioning. I'm going to go here and I'm going to say custom positioning. And it's completely shrunk down now, okay? I'm just going to go back to this section for a moment and make sure this is on full width. There's no gap. And the height is minimal height as well, just for that section, right? Let's go back to this button. Positioning. We are now going to set it with the positioning, which is absolute. So that section has kind of disappeared. We now click on the icon. Go back to positioning. When we clicked absolute, let me just show you again. Look, there's default. The section is back. Let's put it back on absolute. The section has kind of gone, but this button is now set on the left-hand side. I want it to be on the right-hand side. Did you see that? Look, left, right. It's just moved. And if I go like that, top or bottom, that's not really going to do a huge amount because at the moment it's in line with the section. Sorry, warning. It's not absolute. Sorry, my brain went dead then. It's not absolute you picked. You want to pick fixed, okay? Absolute will make it absolute to that area. And as you scroll up and down, you'll lose it. It needs to be fixed. Oh, darn it. Right, so I'm now just going to move this around again just to make sure it's in the middle. There you go. That is now fixed on that position. Don't do absolute. Go for fixed, all right? Same thing, but it's now fixed on the page. Let's now preview this. And look, as I scroll up and down, can you see that section? It's always visible on the right-hand side. So let's now just go here and click gallery. Excuse the fact it's going right to the top of the page because of what I'm doing here. But if I now click here, it goes to the top because we have the anchor here for the home. I go to about. I do that. We're back to the top. Okay. Home, well, that's just going to reload the home page in effect and then reload all of the stuff that's loading here. But that is, in its simplicity, okay, I think a really, really cool, ingenious way of doing a portfolio that just looks cool. Oh, by the way, sorry. One really key thing I should point out. The text here is not showing Orbitron. You'll notice that. Look, there's our text. But the text here is not showing it. The reason it is not showing it is because I've used an optimization tool to remove Google fonts, and I would have to load Orbitron back in again for it to be visible here, okay? So ignore that fact, okay? But normally, if you haven't removed your Google fonts, you would see this with the text it is meant to show, okay? So please don't sit there going, oh, the text doesn't look right. Ignore that, okay? But look, this is a really cool, I think, way of having a portfolio site that's a little bit different with a little bit of movement. I love it. I just think this is so cool. Anyway, look, I hope you like, subscribe, share, and follow, and I shall see you soon. And thank you to GrumpyAnise. I love your art, okay? And I think you are a wonderful, wonderful person. I thank you for letting me do this. But you take care, and I'll see you all soon.